Welcome to Classic Game Room, broadcasting from the Intergalactic Space Arcade. This is Starlancer for the Sega Dreamcast, which brings the 1980s Cold War into the future with spaceships and explosions. Blowing up the enemies is so rewarding, except you've also got mission objectives and your commanders get really mad at you if you don't follow them.
I don't believe it! I told you to take out its engines, not to blow it to smithereens!
You better believe it, Klaus. I don't listen to anyone. But I like explosions, which makes me a great pilot, although admittedly I'm not good at following instructions. What's that about protecting the carriers again? Whatever, man. Do we still get paid? Because I'm just in this to blow things up. You can take your larger political conflict and shove it.
Good evening. I'm Colonel Bradwell, and this is ACN News. The Coalition's signing of the Balma Treaty will end decades of colonial conflict. Coalition dignitaries will be arriving on Jupiter's moon, Europa, to take part in this historic event.
Starlancer is a 2000 release for the Sega Dreamcast and the PC, and plays like an arcade-style space combat game with some serious depth. In fact, it feels a lot more like a PC game than a console release. Don't confuse this one with games like Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Starlancer is far more challenging. This game basically takes the Cold War into space, where you have the alliance consisting of Americans and British and French and Germans fighting against the Russians, Chinese, and other dreaded 1980s commies from Red Dawn. The cutscenes are very good, the acting is excellent for the era, and while I didn't find the story terribly compelling, the game does a wonderful job of placing you as a pawn in a larger conflict.
Your strategy is working perfectly. We've caught the Alliance forces by complete surprise.
Quick! Launch the Red October! Starlancer also has solid gameplay, which makes it a lot of fun, and a nice release on the Sega Dreamcast, although I have a feeling the PC version is better. Because Starlancer just requires more buttons to play than the Dreamcast controller has. And that's always a problem. There's a lengthy campaign, and you start off as a private with just a few ships to choose from and have to earn your stripes to unlock some more ships and respect. The early missions are quite playable and relatively easy, as you'll spend most of your time dogfighting, and I really like the combat action in the game, but it's when you have to start giving commands to your squad mates that things start to get complicated. Because navigating the menu tree while also trying to fly and fight bad guys is a complete pain in the ass. It's the kind of game you'll want to play more than once because it helps to know what to expect as you enter a mission and jump out of hyperspace into a massive battle where you're supposed to save carriers from torpedoes that are launched immediately. And it's a struggle to find them all, or at least issue commands quickly enough to do that. So in my first playthrough here, I just screwed up everything. I lost half the fleet, my friends hated me, and I'm pretty sure the game would have demoted me had the programmers allowed it to do that. Starlancer is not a pick-up-and-play kind of game like Star Wars Rogue Squadron. It requires some time, some mastery of controls, and a lot of patience, but it's a very good game, and shows the power of the Sega Dreamcast because it looks great and it runs relatively smoothly.
Control, this is Prowler Beta 6. General Briggs is on board and our escorts are ready. Permission to jump. You're cleared to jump.
The storytelling and your sense of involvement in this massive conflict are done really nicely with these cutscenes and awesome radio chatter, as well as the back and forth dialogue between your squad mates and commanders that will change depending on how well or how poorly you do.
Who are you calling rookies? Cut it out. Everyone. 45th, this is Colonel Tanner. You do exactly as I say and we'll get along just fine. Now let's move.
The missions are fairly lengthy and can take anywhere between 15 and 30 or 40 minutes depending on which missions they are and how quickly you play them. And you'll frequently find yourself getting blown up in the last 30 seconds of a mission, requiring the whole thing to be played again. So you need some time for Starlancer. But the payoff is an incredibly rich and detailed spaceflight combat game on the Dreamcast. In addition to the campaign, this one also has a quick play mode where you can just jump into arcade-style combat, and it has multiplayer. Online multiplayer, which was the future in 2000. Here's a look at the instant action. Most of the Dreamcast Online stuff has been dead for years. I wasn't able to test that, but I read somewhere that people are still playing Starlancer online, which I can believe. The game is really quite good. It's an affordable, easy-to-find game for the Dreamcast or the PC, and I have to thank an anonymous source for this one. Whoever donated the game to the show, thank you! It was drop-shipped from eBay, so I have no idea who sent it. I'm glad to have played it because it's a lot of fun, and you Dreamcast enthusiasts should definitely pick this one up. I imagine it would also be a lot of fun on PC, since it seems like it was made for a keyboard and flight stick. It's Starlancer, and the Cold War of the future needs you to bring justice on your Sega Dreamcast.
Looks like the reactor is protected by armor plating. Blow it off and then hit the core.
You're no match for the minds of the coalition pilot.
We've hit the reactor. It's gonna go critical.
Quickly, get through the warp gate before it goes up.
Eject! Eject!
We are gathered here today to pay our respects to one of our own, who selflessly laid down their life in combat for the Alliance. We will remember. It is with great sadness and pride that we say farewell to our fellow comrade.
Attention!
What they don't know is that they're launching me onto the Genesis planet, and I will return.